And isn't the best acting always about making us feel our common humanity beyond separate identities? A black George Washington in Hamilton, of course. But Ryan Gosling as Frederick Douglass? Yes, that would be problematic. Ditto Shia LaBeouf as Shaft. It's... Why don't we just go by merit and let the best actor win? Which seems like what happened when Ana de Armas just got picked to play Marilyn Monroe, even though she's Cuban with an accent. Hey, maybe she should play Fidel Castro and...
If you thought Bill Maher's war with woke Hollywood had fizzled out, think again. The last time he blasted celebrity virtue signaling, Tinseltown practically burst into flames. And now he's back, this time going straight for the casting directors. The real power brokers who decide who shines and who gets quietly blacklisted. Maher's latest takedown hits a nerve, exposing how diversity quotas have quietly replaced genuine talent with political tokenism. Hollywood's squirming, and for good reason. Because this round, Maher isn't just throwing jabs, he's pulling back the entire curtain.
Directors have to stop listening to the casting police and go back to doing their job, which is picking the best actor for the role. Now, I mention this because a lot of people lately are either apologizing for or calling on others to apologize for playing roles they call appropriation. James Franco was just chosen to play Fidel Castro, and John Leguizamo posted, "No more appropriation. Boycott. It's up. I don't got a problem with Franco, but he ain't Latino." Okay, but John Leguizamo is Colombian American. He ain't a Venetian, but he played one.
And here's where the hypocrisy really starts to stink. When the system benefits them, they call it progress, but the moment it doesn't, suddenly it's discrimination. You can't make this up. Their outrage has nothing to do with fairness or artistic integrity, it's all about control. Behind the polished activism and hashtags lies a hunger for attention, validation, and power. They're not protecting art. They're protecting their spotlight. Every moral stance is just another PR move to stay relevant in an industry that thrives on pretending to care.
He ain't a French little person or an Italian plumber, but he played them too. Because he's an actor. Why the hell do you think people become actors? Because they want to spend their life not being who they are.
Take John Leguizamo, for instance. What was really running through his mind when he went on that tirade? Here's a guy who's built his career on creative freedom, the ability to portray anyone, from any background. That's literally what acting is, becoming someone else. It's imagination without borders. Yet now he's drawing arbitrary lines around who can play what. That's not progress, it's regression in a moral costume. Acting used to be about transformation and connection. Now it's about identity checklists and outrage Olympics.
Appropriating sounds like an unforgivable sin until you remember that's what acting is. That's why acting jobs are called roles. Sean Penn won an Oscar for playing gay civil rights martyr Harvey Milk. At the time, it was considered a courageous act of solidarity for a straight male movie star to play a homosexual. Now it's the opposite. Eddie Redmayne played a transgender woman in The Danish Girl, but now calls that a mistake because many people don't have a chair at the table. Well, actually, in movies now they do. And what does it have to do with you playing trans? Does it then work the other way? Can trans actors only play trans characters? Because that's not going to be a good deal for them.
Eddie Redmayne. He had nothing to apologize for, none. The man delivered a heartfelt, nuanced performance in The Danish Girl, the kind that bridges understanding and emotion. He brought humanity to a story that needed it. But in today's outrage economy, empathy isn't enough. Even when someone honors a cause through art, the mob still finds a reason to be angry. Because it was never about the message, it's about the power to dictate what's acceptable. For the woke, victory isn't progress, it's control.
The best acting always about making us feel our common humanity beyond separate identities? A black George Washington in Hamilton, of course. But Ryan Gosling as Frederick Douglass? Yes, that would be problematic. Why don't we just go by merit and let the best actor win? Which seems like what happened when Ana de Armas just got picked to play Marilyn Monroe, even though she's Cuban with an accent. Hey, maybe she should play Fidel Castro and James Franco can play Marilyn Monroe, and then we can all stay in our lanes. Is that what diversity and inclusion look like now? Everybody's staying in their lane?
Let's call it what it is, a double standard. When a minority actor plays a traditionally white role, it's representation. But when a white actor portrays a minority role, suddenly it's cultural theft. Pick a lane. Art was never meant to be a demographic spreadsheet. It's supposed to be merit-based, not identity-based. Maher's right to call it out. True fairness can't be selective. You either believe in artistic freedom or you don't. And if you only support it when it benefits you, that's not justice, it's hypocrisy.
And James Franco can play Marilyn Monroe, and then we can all stay in our lanes. Is that what diversity and inclusion look like now? Everybody's staying in their lane? Lawrence of Arabia was gay. Peter O'Toole wasn't. I can live with that. Because he was so cool, he almost made me gay. Emma Stone caught hell for playing a Hawaiian, Jake Gyllenhaal for playing a Persian, Gal Gadot for wanting to play Cleopatra, Johnny Depp for playing an Indian, even though he's not an actual Comanche, and spoiler alert, he also doesn't really have scissor hands.
Art needs air to breathe again. When it's left alone without activists hovering over every frame, it naturally provokes, inspires, and unites. But once you start deciding who's allowed to play a role, you choke the life out of creativity. Studios invest millions. They should have the freedom to cast whoever fits the role best. End of story. Audiences don't buy tickets for a sociology lecture. They come for stories that move them, characters that feel real, and art that dares to take risks.
Tom Hanks now says that if Philadelphia were made today, he wouldn't do it because the character was gay and he's not. Well, besides the fact that this would force all gay actors to reveal their sexuality, even if they didn't want to, great actors, which Tom is one, try hard to keep their private lives private so we don't think of their real lives when we see them in a movie that attempts to transport us into a different world. Could you really look at this actress now and not think of the trial? Should she only play bedwetters now?
That's the tragedy. You can't ever satisfy the outraged crowd. Their standards shift faster than the Hollywood box office. They demand apologies, then weaponize them. Even icons like Steven Spielberg, yes, that Spielberg have gone back to censor their own classics to avoid offending the mob. But appeasement never works. The more you bow to them, the more they demand. They don't nurture art, they strangle it. And now Hollywood's haunted by fear, rewriting itself to please people who will never be pleased.
What's Daniel Day-Lewis really like? I haven't a clue, which is why he's so great. Because when he plays Lincoln, I only see Lincoln. I don't think, well, there's a British heterosexual. But Hanks says, I don't think people would accept the inauthenticity of a straight guy playing a gay guy. Because, quote, we're beyond that now. Don't get him started on bosom buddies. Does Forrest Gump get thrown under the bus too because Tom isn't really mentally challenged? And as far as we're beyond that, no, that implies progress. This is the opposite. This is regression.
Actors should be free to act plain and simple. The essence of their craft is transformation, not conformity. And if Hollywood truly wants to fix itself, maybe it should focus on real problems, pay gaps, predatory studios, and creative burnout. Not witch hunts over who's allowed to play whom. Casting should reward skill, not ideology. Because when fear runs the show, art dies. Maher's right, Hollywood's lost the plot. The industry that once celebrated imagination now worships purity tests. If we keep censoring art to satisfy the loudest activists, we don't just kill creativity, we erase the shared humanity that makes storytelling worth it.
Frankly, typical of so much wokeness that doesn't build on liberalism. It undoes it. Empathy. Putting yourself in someone else's place so you can understand them better used to be the very heart of liberalism. Now it's considered offensive because don't even try to put yourself in my shoes because you could never know. What a bunch of bullshit that always was. Of course, no one can ever know exactly what another person's struggle is, but we try.
The woke obsession with authentic casting doesn't just suffocate actors, it robs audiences of the very thing that makes cinema magical. Acting is about disappearing into a role, not proving your identity to Twitter. But now, every performance is judged through the lens of politics. The result? Safe, dull, predictable films that feel like propaganda instead of passion. Viewers aren't being transported anymore. They're being lectured. Art stops being art the moment it becomes afraid to offend.
Black Like Me was a 1950s book about a white man who darkened his skin and went out into society because he wanted to understand what his black brothers and sisters were up against. Today, All the woke mob would see about that was a guy who did blackface. Steven Spielberg recently remade West Side Story and bent over backwards to respect ethnicities and ended up pleasing nobody. And it's too bad because the original musical was created by Stephen Sondheim, Arthur Lawrence, and Leonard Bernstein, three gay Jews.